didn't get to the ribbon mics.
Oh, the ribbon mics.
Where did they go?
Where did they go? Oh, you know, well, these are the new ones that have come from the same company as this guy, and I haven't actually evaluated them properly
Have we said hello to Kev?
Oh,
G'day,
hello, Kev.
Oh, hey. Hey, Tone, how are you?
Hey, Tone, Factory Sound TV.
Oh, really? Nice to meet you, Tone.
Nice to see you too. So, sorry, go on.
Oh, this one. How many of those are you going to sell?
Does
It's only $8,500.
Great cheese as well with that?
It does. It does anything you want. That's the Wes Dooley 440, which is a phantom-powered version of an RCA 44, which is probably the world's most famous and best ribbon microphone. But that's phantom-powered, so it has high output, low noise. It's probably one of the quietest, the quietest ribbon mic available in the world, and is as quiet as any condenser microphone. That's fantastic. But the
do you do a stereo version of one?
yes, right here.
You glad I asked that though?
I'm really glad you asked that, because it's one of my favourite microphones. I always put that in front of a drum kit or use it as an overhead in a drum kit. And that's basically two AEA R84s at 90 degrees to each other, which gives you what's called a Blumlein effect, which is two figure of eights, one there and one there. So you're stereo miking at front and back. So it picks up 360 degrees.
So these numbers...
That there is where the ribbon is that way,
yep.
and 2 would be where the ribbon is that way.
Okay.
And so you face that, the AEA sign is centre of the image, so if I'm standing here, I'll be in the centre of the image. If I go over here, I'll be on the left-hand or right-hand side of the image. And that's exactly what it is. And then you go over here and you got the...
and what sort of pin does that, is that just a 3-pin XLR on the other
yeah,
end of
so
that? Or is
what
it a
that
5-pin
is,
or?
that goes out into 2 XLR, just left and right, or top and bottom.
Yep.
And that's it. It's just straight into the a ribbon mic pre like that, which is essentially made for ribbon mics, so it matches the impedance. Whereas a normal mic preamp, it will work fine, but the impedance is not quite matched. And so if you plug that into a specifically designed preamp made for ribbons, the very top end of the microphone just seems to open up, and it's much more airy or something. It's not brighter, it's just airy, more spacious and immediate. It's fantastic. And then of course you got the... And then you have... That's a tube ribbon microphone. Now, isn't that interesting? Who would think that someone could make a tube ribbon microphone? But that's what it is. It's an R122V. That's my own, and I use it for lots of things. And I just bought a stereo one as well, that's a stereo ribbon mic, phantom powered as well. But they've just made a tube one.
No, that is the tube mono.
That is the tube mono.
And what does that plug into?
Plugs into this, which has got the transformers and power supplies, and there is actually a little tube in there. And when you plug this in, you see a lovely warm little glowing light in there, which is the tube. It's a vacuum tube, and it feels great. And it's the best violin microphone on the planet. It's good for pretty much anything, but I discovered it on violins, and I recorded some violins in your hometown, Melbourne, once, and the first time I used it, and the violin player, who was a very serious violin player, just said, that is the first time I've ever heard my violin sound like it actually sounds. And this was like a $50,000 or $100,000 violin. It was a serious violin. And I just put that just there, just where she hears it. No fuss and bother, no compression, straight to a little old TRP preamp, which is a $1,500 dual preamp, and it was wonderful. So they're doing that, and that's the original 121 where it all began, which is just a normal passive Royer ribbon microphone, about $1,800, and that's where it all began. And they're wonderful as well, but not quite as wonderful as one of them. What else have we got? Want one of them?
Now, what is...
That's a Josephson 720.
Is that 3 diaphragms?
That's 2 capsules. One's figure of 8, one's omni. So you plug in 2, and you get a little chart with it, so you can get any pattern that you want if you use the 2 capsules. But I just use the figure of 8. That's all I use in it mainly, and I use that for cellos and upright double basses. It's just...
You're doing a lot of string?
Yeah.
Recording?
Well, if I do a lot of sort of... In fact, I just did a sort of a string quartet for the Hilltop Hoods on their last record, and that was interesting because I used that on the upright bass, these on the violins, and those, I think, on the viola.
Which you don't really need or want to hear anyway.
Exactly. So I turned that off.
Yeah. Perfect.
And It was a wonderful recording, and that was just all ribbon mics on this string. It was 2 violins, a viola, and that was a cello. And I used that on the cello.
So Mick is going to shoot us off a little 10-second sample of what he's recorded, just so we can hear for ourselves just what he's going on about there. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, perfect.
We even got a film. I just found out, this is not for the film, but I just found out that
Is it blue?
Could be. That's a recording I did in New York, and they've got it on a DVD. Support this, not a... Oh, get me a break. So they're really hassling me, aren't they? But anyway, it was really interesting, and they've recorded it all, and I gave them all stems of the individual ribbon mic tracks, and then they blended them in. They blended them in to the actual soundtrack. There you go. And it was the hit. They did it for the NAMM show in America, and it was the hit of the show, so they say. And that was done with Larry Campbell. That's Larry Campbell, who's Bob Dylan's guitar player and produces Levon Helm, probably the most sought-after guitar player in America, and that's who I recorded it with, Larry Campbell and Ola Bell, which is Levon Helm's daughter's band, and it's actually really quite wonderful. And look, there's even on there.
All About You. So is that coming out the cans or the monitors?
Sure as night is.
Just to confuse us.
Well, there we go. We got the last 2 seconds of that.
No, we just do this. And I thought the record, this is all done with singing vocals, everything. Just lots of those. And mixed on a 2-inch tape. And then I brought it back home and mixed it off the 2-inch tape. Become a bit of a benchmark record, and that's them singing into little ribbon microphones in the control room, all in the same room.
And when was this?
This is in February last year.
I was going to say it looks a bit 70s on there with all those vintage microphones. Doesn't it? All the
But it was lovely, and it was basically a project which I did all on old mic preamps and all new ribbon microphones. And the people from AEA and Roy sent me all the microphones to use while we're there, so they're all brand new. And that's just where he solos the vocal. I've sent them all the stems of the individual microphones.
Take me where the sun is shining, take me down, highway dancing now.
It's cool, isn't it?
That's great.
Even the drums were all mostly ribbon microphones. Look at that ugly looking brute.
He looked younger. He looked younger earlier in the year, didn't he?
And I even used, some of these old RCAs. So it was all good. It was all good.